He's a very dear friend of mine who's had a wonderful career, and we were lucky enough to play in a band together. But I'm going to bring out Joe Long, my friend from the Four Seasons. He was the bass player for 10 years and a real bloomer.
Charmin, thank you for inviting me to your show.
Oh, my pleasure. A real bloomer.
I'm a late bloomer.
Well, yeah, a lot of us are late bloomers, but the thing is that we're in motion. We're always in motion. We're always growing. We're learning. We're expanding.
We try to do that. Yep, absolutely.
So you were with the Four Seasons for 10 years, right?
Almost
Maybe
12.
Almost 12. Wow. Well, you're counting. What were some of your favorite memories from being in the Seasons?
Well, meeting McCartney and Lennon, we did a royal performance, sort of like the command performance, but for not for the king and queen, but for one of the royal family. And the Beatles and many other people showed up that night. And so I got to spend some time with those two guys. And of course, a giant that you and Al were associated with for a while. We toured with Frank Sinatra for almost a year. His Watertown album came as a result of the tour. He had heard, as he got to know the group because of working together, was introduced to an album we had just released, Genuine Imitation Life Gazette, which was our first concept album, and Frank wanted to do a concept album. Although I thought all his albums were concept albums. So Bob Gaudio and Jake Holmes wrote Watertown for him, and that came at about that time. Yeah.
I've seen some pictures from the sessions. That's pretty. They're both extraordinary memories.
Of course, anybody that is in music, I don't care what kind of music you're in, if you're associated with music in any way, you have to appreciate John Lennon and Paul McCartney for what they've accomplished, for how they turned the whole world around in just a matter of a few years. They're only together really, 5 or 6 years. And
not that long. I was at their first 3 concerts in America. So
wow.
It was like a bomb went off.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
They were a bomb.
Now you're a left-handed bass player, right? But you were always, but not always, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that way by design. Well, it wasn't that way naturally, I should say. I wasn't that way by design. I just got it backwards. But I was forced to play bass because of something that happened to me early as a young man.
And you just kept going and just adapted?
I had started studying music at a very young age. I was only about 6 years old when my father said, "You will learn to play the accordion."
Oh yeah.
But when I was 18, I had a pretty severe accident to my left hand. That stopped all my accordion playing. But as I was convalescing, a number of surgeries and rehabilitation stints, and I got, I just missed music. So I picked up an upright bass, and I had to restring it because I couldn't use my left hand. I became a left-handed bass player, a righty playing left-handed bass.
I still have your bass here. You know that?
Yes, I do. I'll claim it one day.
So now how did the opportunity come for you to join the Seasons?
Their original bassist and bass singer, Nick Massey, left the group very abruptly. I mean, he just, there was something, something that was going on in Nick's mind, and he just couldn't do it anymore, and he just left. And musicians, as you know, we're a kind of a social network kind of group. If you need a drummer, you probably can pick 10 names out of your head. And, well, musicians in general seem to know other musicians, and so they knew that I had that kind of foggy voice. Sounds like I always have a cold, perennial cold, and that I played bass. So I met with Tommy DeVito, the original guitar player. We talked, and I guess he liked what he heard, so he wanted me to meet Frankie Valli and Bob Gaudio. And I guess they liked what they heard as well. So because I was offered the job, that was
And
it.
that, I got a picture over here, and that was, let's see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's one of the earlier. Oh no, this was not really the earliest, right? Yeah.
I guess that was somewhere around 68 or 9. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That
Yeah,
was the big nose on the left.
I got another one over here too, just so people can see
Hey, how about
who you are.
in
I-
color?
Yeah.
I almost look like I know what I'm doing in that picture.
Well, you do. And when I first started working with you, we came out of this band, this rock band. I was with Alfred, and we came out of that with my hippie look on the side, looking cool and sleek
Yeah.
over there.
Move it over a little bit to your left. I couldn't see you. Show me. You cut yourself. There you are. You
Yeah.
cut yourself out of the picture. Yeah.
There it is, right in this house too. We took that picture right by the house. Rock and roll band, big rock and roll band.
Yep. Good.
Then we formed the show band. When you left, we did the show band, and we called it.
You can tell that's a show band, right? You can tell that's a show band.
It's a very,
That was a lot of fun. It was a fun band.
colorful band, very colorful band. At
Yeah.
that time, the industry was supporting big bands and shows, and there was a lot of work. We had a lot of work,
Absolutely.
and that's where we met. And I knew how capable you were then. You were a trained musician. I learned a lot from you.
Oh wow! And from you as well. That's very nice of you to say that. Can I jump ahead just a little bit?
Jump
You
ahead.
You haven't mentioned that band was Labratio.
Yeah,
But when Labratio disbanded,
yeah,
we stayed together with Al Natoli, and we found this young kid out of Minnesota,
yeah.
Waltman's great drummer, and we formed Jersey Bounce.
Yep.
I gotta tell you right now, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you. In all the I've been around, I've been on this earth a lot of years. And I've played with a lot of bands. That was the most fun I ever had playing music. I still to this day cherish that time that we spent together doing all that wonderful music. And,
Yeah. Remember the job we had the first job down in Atlantic City? We were on a rotating schedule with the 4 freshmen,
yes.
Billy Brown, Bill Doggett doing Hockey Tonk, and we were up there, It was,
And Jersey Bounce.
and we practiced, Joe, all the time to get the vocals, because we did 4-part close harmony.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we used to hunt down the vintage clothes and. Great.
Oh God, yeah. Oh man. For those of you out there who did see the band, I'm sure you remember it as being a very unique group, a very unique band. We were doing things that no one else was doing. No one was doing that stuff. All the swing songs where if you were singing, the 3 guys were doing the horn parts and harmony in the background.
Yeah.
What a lot of fun.
Just singing and playing, and I was getting my jazz chops together. That was new. I was classically trained, and I was doing a lot of practicing. Back then I didn't have a TV. I just had my piano. I just practiced all the time, because that's what it took. And I remember driving to Queens to study harmony with a guy out there. It's the kind of things we used to do back then. When somebody had knowledge that we wanted, we just went after it. And it was just a question.
Well, that was the way to do it.
Yeah.
Even, if you want something, you got to go grab it. You can't just wait for it to come to you. It very rarely will just come and sit itself in your lap. You've got to go out there.
No. And I remember one of the first places where we rehearsed, I think it was up in Vermont, called the Wobbly Barn, which it actually was a wobbly barn. Remember, we walked in to the barn where we were staying, and I fell right through the floor. People think it's so glamorous. No, it was a barn, and it was not a well-made barn. All part of the story here.
City girls are all alike.
So then the Jersey Boys, the Broadway play was enormously huge, still is. And I have this cool picture I found of you because you are mentioned, you are talked about in the play.
Yeah.
And people just love that story.
Oh, that was an amazing.
Yeah.
Sharman, the the play was amazing. But what it did do for the Four Seasons, it gave them a second life, a rebirth. Frankie was still out there working, but working smaller and smaller venues. When along came the play, he started working for 10, 12, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, we all enjoyed a kind of a rebirth because of that play. And so I owe a lot to it, as do all the other guys, because it came along at a great time, a time when the group was beginning to just disappear off, from the public awareness, and put everybody right back on the map again. It's great.
And also, you found a whole new audience, because I still go different places when a very young clientele will be in love with the Four Seasons because it's such a unique sound.
Absolutely.
But last year
the only thing there, Shaman, a lot of the young people think that Jersey Boys was the Four Seasons. We were not nearly that glitzy. Dance. They all dance on stage. If we tried anything like that, we would fall on our faces. But, okay, let them think.
That certain move, right? There was a certain move that you had. Yeah.
That was my speed. That was as far as I went.
Yeah. And then last year we scooped you up, and when Alfred, my husband, whom already has appeared as my first guest on this show, and his dream was to turn a script that he wrote quite a while ago. We revamped it. He wanted it to be we turned it into a movie, and we brought seasoned people like yourself to be in and this is coming, by the way, to Amazon Prime.
Isn't that great?
Band eat. I know that's backwards, right? Does the band eat? And there's a picture. Yeah, and all these guys here at this table, they're all real players, real musicians, and they have 60 years of music, at least each of them, and they're still playing and still making music.
Great.
So the audience, you guys, and
God bless them.
I got to apologize again because it's so strange to be not knowing who's out there, but I know there's people out there, so I'm hoping you're enjoying this. This is precious time here, but it's so
enjoying it.
Could be. I have my pajama bottoms on, so. So, Joe, I brought you on the Bloomers show because the whole concept of the Bloomers is to just be energized and keep moving and try to identify the things that you haven't done in your life that you really want to do. If you're capable of doing them, you do them. But sometimes we're not. Sometimes our bodies are limited, or there may be a number of reasons. Our dream may be something that's just a little physically out of our reach. But I talked to you yesterday, and you told me an amazing story that really exemplifies the Bloomers. And would you share that with the audience about your interest and how you still maintain it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you that when I was with the Seasons, and by the way, as a young kid, as a very young boy, I became fascinated with flying airplanes. I could name every single plane, from the big bombers of World War II and the not jetliner, the airliners, down to the smallest airplanes. And I was lucky enough during my time with the Seasons to take a few lessons. I took some flying lessons. But then as time went on, and I left the group and things changed in my life. I was raising a couple of kids on my own because I don't want to, I didn't mean to get into this, but their mother had passed on at a young age. So I didn't have time for all of that stuff any longer. But computers were coming of age, and some very fine software was beginning to evolve, flight simulation software. So I said, wow, I may not be able to, jump in a cockpit and actually physically fly an airplane, but I could come darn close by getting into this software. So I invested some money in a PC and software and all kinds of hardware, sticks and yokes and foot pedals and all that jazz. And I got to the point where, and by the way, the software got to the point where it was so sophisticated that it allowed me to learn the dynamics and the physical makeup of an airplane almost as well as if I was sitting in the cockpit. So now, I'll plan a flight, file a flight plan, decide, of course, where I want to go, decide what kind of plane I want to fly in, check the weather, and do it all, and then fly it. Take off, fly it, land it, pull it up to the terminal gate, do all this stuff vicariously as if I was doing it live. And what it has done for me, Sharman, it's really kept the old gray matter moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was an amazing. I didn't know that, so it was just an amazing story. And sometimes when I talk to people that have always wanted to do a certain thing, I got to remember to say, hey, maybe you always wanted to be a brain surgeon, and it's a little late to actually get the scalpel and start operating, but you sure can learn all you want to and satisfy your desire, and thereby you're blooming. So.
Absolutely. And I would say to anybody, especially to your audience, just never stop wanting, never stop wanting to learn, never stop wanting to do.
Mm.
You said it, just a few seconds ago. You're never too old. And you're never too young either. Just get out there and do it. If you have a dream, if you have an idea.
It's about the journey. It's always about the journey. It's not about am I going to make $1 million? Yes, you want to, but you may not. You may. Who knows? You don't know where it's going to go.
That should never. Of course, that's a motivation. The money, earning enough money to be comfortable, but it shouldn't be the primary or the reason why you will do it or not do it. Shouldn't be because of the money. If there's something that interests you, intrigues you. Go ahead and do it and have fun.
Thank you so much, Joe. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharman. Love you. My record style.